Yo, 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 what's up? It's your guy Flamingo Fred, and this is the Bird of Paradise podcast. We got a very special guest today, all the way from London, right?
Yes.
All the way from London. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Fabio Cicala and I'm Italian. I'm from a city not far from Naples, which is very romantic, very sunny. But I live in London. I've been based here since like 2014, where I'm a musician, composer, and I do other creative stuff.
That's beautiful. I like that shirt, by the way, too. That's
I think
something I would wear.
yes, that's very creative, very like flower song, let's say from the 60s vibes.
Yeah, I'm very big right now. I'm very big in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
That's great. So we can share the vibes from the era.
Yeah, most definitely. So you say you're from Italy originally. What made you move from Italy over to London?
Well, at first it was like I was taking part in an exchange program study when I was studying in the Academy of Fine Arts. So I went to England, but then after that I came back to my country, and then I found a job post to work in a pub, not far from London. And then from there I decided I wanted to take my art to the next level. And anyway, London is much more complete. It's a megalopolis, so you can share a lot of creativity. Why, unfortunately, where I come from, you can be an artist, but the opportunities are more limited to a few genres, a few things you can do. While London is much more broad, probably like New York, I guess, or Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
most definitely. What genres are you limited to where you're from? Like back in Italy, what genres is there?
Where usually like you can play pop with a singer and something which is more mainstream, or you can do opera. It's famous for opera.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, which is nice, but you want to go beyond that. What genre would you classify yourself like? What genres you feel you fit into?
Well, at the moment, the music I released so far is like Latin, flamenco, classical, easy listening. But I also like fusion, like heavy metal music, which has a lot of work for the instruments.
Yeah, I don't feel like an artist should be limited on what genres they can go to. I
I
think it's
agree.
very beautiful for artists to show, you know, what they want to do. And I can understand how, one area could limit you
Yes.
on what you want to make. Um so London, how is the music scene there? You said it's similar to, like New York, very busy. I know London has, a little bit of everything going on.
Yes, and there's also there's always something new to learn because London is quite up to date with the newest trends. So if there's something new that you would have never imagined before, you can tap into it, and you can literally listen to any kind of music, any traditional music as well, because people coming from all parts of the world, they have their own traditions, and you can get in touch with them and discover new instruments, new way of doing music. Then you can integrate them in your music as well.
Yes, very much so. I notice, when you get, because I'm an artist myself, and I've been getting into more funk and electronic, synthesizer, I would say, more music, funk and synthesizer. That's where I said, the 70s is big now for me, the 60s. And so, you start studying music a lot. I've
Yes,
been doing a lot of studying and watching different people and just being a student of music.
that's correct. And of course, the study never ends, and we never
Never.
have to self limit ourselves and discover new things.
Yeah, most definitely. When I first started out making music, I was so hungry. I was just gonna make music and be a superstar. But now I've grown and I appreciate different eras of music and the seeing the similarities in different genres and styles and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also as soon as you get along, study, you will keep in touch with a different type of listeners, and they will appreciate you, and they will say, oh, but you also do this. Yes, because doing this music made me discover my relationship with my father, for example. Oh, very, very good, very good. And then you discover another genre. Oh, you also do this genre. Yes, because I discover the vibes from the 60s. And so, very good. So you get new following because they will look up to you when you go and tap into their genres.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. So I know, tell the people about. I know you play the guitar.
Yes,
Yes.
this is something that actually happened by coincidence or by synchronicity, depending on how you want to look at it. Because as a child, I was playing the keyboard, just messing around. Then I
Mhm.
discovered Jimi Hendrix as a teenager, and I started to play the guitar. But it was just a hobby for me since when I emigrated to the UK. When I was walking by and I saw a restaurant, an Italian restaurant run by Turkish people, so you can see how multicultural this city is. And I saw an advertisement saying looking for solo guitarist on the window. So I popped in, I talked to the manager. I said, "Oh, listen, I can play the guitar. Maybe you want to give me a try." They gave me a try, and I went back on the next Saturday, and I played the guitar, and just classical guitar to entertain the guests. And the guests were very happy with me, so they hired me for one night a week, then for 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week, finally 4 nights a week. So I've been
Wow.
for yes, yes, a few years. I've been playing for 4 nights a week my solo guitars, like arranging any type of music from pop, even hip hop, like classical rock, anything, just arranged for classical guitar. And from that, I became more confident, and I said, okay, maybe I can make music my source of income, my first job. And from there, I built a fan base, and I started to write my own music. And then I went basking. I started to bask in London. I started to work as a background artist, playing the guitarist, playing the artist, something like that. Playing for venues, for charities, for private parties, and everything started from there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful that you did that. And you said something when you started talking. Also, as a teenager, I discovered Jimi Hendrix too. And I knew who Jimi Hendrix was, but I dived deeper a little bit into his music, and I read different books about him too. You know what I mean? Jimi Hendrix, and different stuff about his life and how he came up playing the guitar. So he was a huge inspiration too for me when I first started making music.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, he
And
was. Go ahead.
it, it was also very spiritual. He had a spiritual way of making music, a
Ve-
shamanic way, let's say.
yes, very much so. I used to read his biography. It talked about how he used to pretend he was playing guitar on his broomstick, and he used to just be on the porch, and it was like his, even before he ever had a real guitar, his imagination allowed him to visualize. And then he played the Chitlin circuit, and then they took him overseas, to the UK, and that's where he blew up.
Yes,
Yeah, so much inspiration from me also.
that's great. Yeah.
Who else is another artist? Let's say, what is an artist? Let's say from the '70s that inspired you. I just recently, Sly and the Family Stone. They just had a documentary that released on Hulu over here. Big funk inspiration that I just watched about 2 nights ago.
Oh wow. Well, from that era, I can say Santana, who's still going on,
Oh yeah,
and James Brown, of course, the godfather of soul, and Janis Joplin, because I like her voice. I like this kind of
yeah.
voice. Or Joe Cocker as well. They have they dig very deep when they use their voice, and they makes you feel, or they make you feel all the vibrations, or the soul they put into their singing. It's something physical for them. It's something that you see all their body shaking because they are giving all themselves in what they're doing.
Yes, most definitely. You know what I find funny? I was looking at James Brown recently. There's a lot of hip hop now, and a lot of the new hip hop music I don't like. But if you listen to the ad libs, it's like a lot of almost improv and and emotion. If you listen to James Brown, a lot of what he was doing, it was like just it was not a lot of structure sometimes with his vocals, but just raw emotion.
Yeah.
And I think I was just going back and I was studying James Brown recently, and I was like, he was just he was just doing it, how he felt.
Yes, and that's what was very involving for the people, for the musicians you were working with, and for the audience. It was a raw emotion, as well as Tina Turner. I cannot not mention Tina Turner, who is my favorite woman. Let's say. So I'm sorry not having been able to collaborate with her, but at the moment I wasn't even serious into music. So
Yeah, most definitely. I was watching James Brown and they had interviews, and from James Brown's band, Bootsy Collins came, and he
yes,
was, Parliament Funkadelic, and I love them, and Prince and Rick James a lot. I've been listening to them a lot lately because I just been funk electronic synthesizer all lately. Because I say this because I come from hip hop,
yes.
and I grew up, I came mostly with hip hop, but now I'm going and I'm breaking out.
Oh, that's great. Yes, well, everyone starts from a genre, the genre we feel more close to ourselves, to our community. But then, of course, we broaden our horizons and we tap into other traditions, other genres, and then we integrate it. And then what it makes us a complete musician, a complete artist. So we can relate to much more people. That's it.
Yeah, did you start out trying a little bit of opera when you were back home?
Well, not really, but I'm working with a vocal coach here, and this vocal coach, she's Italian, she's artist and also a trainer, and she has a background in opera. So I'm taking vocal coach singing, so vocal coach training. So I try to hone my voice, but not to become an opera artist, but to integrate to hone my voice and to be able to sing as well, because my surname translated in Italian means cicada. So I try to pay homage to my surname and singing as well. Hopefully.
Yeah. Do you feel the vocal coach is helping you a lot?
Yes, I because the ability is making me feel more confident and making me discover some skills I didn't know I had and how to make the most of my capabilities.
That's beautiful. I might think about getting a vocal coach, or I've been thinking about doing some piano or bass also.
Yes, yes, we always need to learn, and even learning several instruments, even if we don't want to express ourselves with them, but just for the sake of understanding how to compose, how to work better with other people. And when I arrange music for my guitar, I take inspiration from the piano because it's more complete in terms of octaves, in terms of sounds from the very bass to the highest pitch. So it gives you a wider idea. But of course, I'm not a good pianist. I can play a little bit the keyboard like that, but I'm a guitarist.
Yeah, I just heard someone say that today. I don't know if it was on social media or where, but they said, the piano is the connected to everything. Piano, if you could do piano, piano is where you write music and do everything. Someone said that, I don't know, so I took it as the truth.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
they
that's probably the case. Yes.
Yeah, they said the piano. So, they say if you play the piano, you could play the bass. If you play the piano, you could play this and that. So I was like, maybe I should learn the piano because what I really want to play is the bass.
Wow. Yes, I can see you on the bass,
Yeah,
and
that's the bass. I thought the bass is just one of my favorite. It's just so funky.
yes, I love it. I love it too, and I love when they do the slapping, the
Oh
popping.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it seems a little bit easier than the guitar.
Well, that I don't know, but what we think as a guitarist, what we think, we say, oh, if you're a good guitarist, you're a good bass player as well. But then
That's
if
that's
if
what I
you don't,
always assumed.
if you go and play the bass, then you try to play as a guitar, and people will pick at you. Oh, he's a guitarist, I can see. So it's a different, some different rules as well.
Yeah, I remember always being. I used to see bass players in different places. I remember just always been fascinated by the bass. It just always had like so much power, the bass, and then the guitar. Of course, the guitar is beautiful. The guitar is just like the lead singer, but that bass is just like the bottom of everything.
Yes.
Even now when I'm making this funk music, I've been connected with my producer, and I produce also. But a lot of the stuff that we're making, it starts with the synthesizer or synth bass. You
Yes,
know,
that's right.
and then you build it from drums and whatever from there.
Yeah, yeah, the bass gives you, um, well, let's say the guitar or other more melodic instrument, they give you a hands, and they take you through the melody, through the story, whatever is happening in the music. But the bass gives you the very structure. It's a feeling. Sometimes you can when you go to a concert, you can feel all the vibration coming from the ground, and that's the bass. The bass gives you this. Oh, a little bit the drum. The drum gives you is something more cerebral. But the bass is something more physical.
Yeah, that's very beautiful, and I'm learning because I didn't really play instruments. We always use programs and keyboard, different types of equipment, to make beats. What we do in hip hop. Lots of sampling, lots of different things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great thing from the 60s and 70s. They were doing the early pop, but they were actually playing the instruments.
yeah, most definitely. It was. I mean, don't get me wrong. The technology is great, but it's also it's like you said. It's always good to keep learning because you can combine them together.
Yes.
So you said you had a new single that came out February 14th.
Yes. And this single is called The Words I Didn't Say. It's a quite romantic song.
Hmm.
And I wrote it because I was working in a film set a few years ago, and there was a kind of love at first sight. We were a girl I was collaborating with, but at that time I was in a relationship, so I decided to be loyal to my then girlfriend. And so I expressed all the words I didn't say in my music, and that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's very good. I like that. So it came out on the 14th. When is the last time you released something before then?
It was in March 2024. It was quite 11 months earlier.
Yeah. So usually, you said the inspiration for this song, you told us about. Usually, where do you get inspiration for your songs?
Well, it can vary. It's something like I tap into my personal experience, or I tap into what I read. I like reading a lot about Greek mythology or history, philosophy, those kinds of topics. But in this case, it was a personal experience, and it was something, a personal experience, but it's something I can relate to with most people, because each of us has had these opportunities. We all have any kind of opportunities, and we should never think that the train only passes once, but we should think that we attract what we need, the kind of opportunities and people we need, depending on the work we are doing on ourselves. That's what I think.
Yeah, most definitely. One of the things that I struggle with in hip hop as I started maturing and growing as an artist, I felt like the topics were limited, on what I could do. But I feel like with funk music and rock music and different things, I felt like the topics you had a broad range to talk about whatever. You could talk about spaceships and aliens and Greek mythology. You could talk about whatever in funk music and this different type of stuff versus hip hop.
Yes. And of course, Jimi Hendrix, even for that, Jimi Hendrix is a source of inspiration, or all the kind of topics he talked about.
Yeah, one of my favorite Jimi Hendrix songs, and I think has a deep meaning. It was "Castles Made of Sand." Castles Made of Sand. and
Yeah.
that's just a deep title in itself. But the theme is castles made of sand, melt into the sea eventually. That means, something that doesn't have a strong foundation is always gonna end, and that's
I
deep.
yes, yes,
So I always like that. What is like you said, you look into a lot of history and mythology and stuff like that.
yes. And I like, for example, Ulysses. In my song, for example, when I was the way I managed to resist to that temptation, it was like focusing on Ulysses when he was traveling with his crew in the Mediterranean Sea, and he was traveling around the mermaids, and the mermaids was singing and trying
Mm,
to catch the sailors' attentions, but he had himself tied on the maestro on the trunk. And he
mm-hmm.
said to his crew, "Okay, you will tie me here, and all of you will have some wax in your ears, so you won't be able to listen to the singing of the mermaids. But you will not put the wax into my ears, so I will be able to listen to." And that's what I was doing. So I felt myself like tied, like Ulysses, but I was hearing the sound. But then I managed to save myself. So Greek mythology has been a source of inspiration even for my life, like spirituality as well.
No, I like a lot of mythology. Mermaids are always a good, topic because it's just, this beautiful creature coming out of the ocean to lure you in the ocean is just, kind of, fascinating within itself.
Yes.
And you listen to these stories, it's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, for instance, those movies. I don't know if you've seen them, but there's mermaids and there's all these different things coming out of the ocean. The ocean is so huge, we don't know what's in there,
Yeah.
you
And,
know.
and also there are I think mythology is always is an evergreen. So for every, it's a source of inspiration for every type of artist, every story, and also the stories that we were told as children, like which are now Walt Disney classics. Most of them, they have a deep meaning in terms of self-discovering and how to go ahead in the world. I always appreciate the Walt Disney classics because they tap into the repertoire coming from worldwide, from the whole world, and that's an interesting topic.
One of the things I watch a lot, and and Parliament Funkadelic was big into it, like sci-fi, but like ancient aliens and stuff like that. I watched a lot of that. I watched a lot about the aliens and the UFOs and them having this different, alien technology way back when. I find that very fascinating. And the same thing with mythology. You see all these people have all these different stories from mythology to aliens to all this stuff. And at some point you just go deeper and deeper and it's like there has to be some truth in there somewhere.
Yeah. It,
Somebody has to have at least a little bit of truth.
yes. And it's something that apart from that, there's also something so contemporary. You read a story about 2,000 years ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, and then you say, "Oh, but this looks so modern, unbelievable." The way they were behaving, the way they came up with some discovery, or you might think, "Oh, they discovered this before us." Or they gave value to this kind of topic before we did it. Unbelievable. So sometimes you question about all of that.
Yeah, most definitely. I think, it's a huge inspiration for artists, that's what art and music and even, painting and sculptures have always been about is, studying and learning things and stories and taking that into your art, you know and I think sometimes some artists have lost that. We only talk about current things or this and that, but artists are storytellers and taking this and taking that and putting it on our music and inspiration.
Yeah.
Just like you said, what you like, that's amazing. You said you imagine the story of Ulysses when he was tied, I guess, to the hull of the ship and he's listening to these mermaids. singing, and he wanted to listen to it. I think that's beautiful. That's kind of probably how I would look at something. Have an
Yeah,
imagination.
yeah, yeah, and also having imagination, anything happening in my life. Actually, maybe because I'm quite a dreamer. If you're an artist, you tend to be a dreamer, and everything you do, even when you are at the traffic lights, you start thinking about, oh, Jimi Hendrix, cross down traffic, ta ta ta. So something has happened. Oh, the woman, she has a red hair. Oh wow, fox lady, come here. Or you see, when I see a fox, we have a saying, because yeah, if you go in the countryside, you see many foxes crossing your street. And where I come from, if a fox crosses your path, it will bring you luck. So I try to look into the eyes of the fox, and I try to make eye contact, so it can give me even more power to my life. So I try to read those kind of signs. Or when I find like leathers, like birds' leathers, and I see them coming from I don't know where, from nowhere. They come close to my feet, or I find them in my car, or I find them somewhere, and I try to read the color, go search for the meaning, and of course 1111. All the
Yeah.
numbers.
No, most definitely. It's just like people wonder why, I like my office here. It's painted different ways and different artwork, and it's because I like it, and it comes from my imagination. Sometimes people think you just wear wild clothes and different things for attention or do this, and it's like, no, it's not that. It comes from in your imagination, you know what I mean? In my imagination, I'm a character in a movie, I'm a character in a story that's on this great adventure. And that makes me happy going, like you said, that makes me happy going through life, that I'm this character in this story, and I'm wearing this or I'm doing that, and I'm on this adventure.
I agree with that.
And maybe some people don't look at it like that, but I do. It's like when you're a kid and you're watching a Disney movie or you're watching these movies. When we were children, we have these vivid imaginations, and in an instant we can imagine we're flying with Peter Pan or we're on a pirate ship. But I think people become adults and they start to lose that.
Yeah.
And my goal for me is to get that back and feel like that again, and helps with music and my imagination.
Yes, I agree with that. I have to say, music has been healing myself, and it has me tap into my inner child. And so when I play guitar, I go into my inner world, and then I connect to people. I share this even fragile life, because when you were a child, you were we were when we were child, we were open-minded but also fragile, so we can share this with the audience.
Yes, most definitely. And it's like I said, we're characters in a movie, and we're just going through it. They say something I read a lot is to become more childlike. And music helps. Every time you have an emotion, like the story you said for the song on the 14th, or if you're angry, you can make a song. If you're sad, you can make a song. If you have a funny idea, you could put it, and you could yell and you could scream and you could be sad and you could put it into the music.
Yes, and also it could be, if more and more people could enjoy music, there would be less violence. We would, or most of the people would be able to express the feelings, or the anger, or the feeling of loss, whatever kind of feeling, into music, and the world would be better. So we need to carry on with our work.
Yeah, it's sometimes I've thought before in my journey, I thought about stopping music. I think maybe every artist gets to the point where they think sometimes maybe they should stop. I think it happens. We think about it, but I think I would be lost without a way to create and express these feelings, because I turn on the music, I turn on my microphone, and I become that person. I'm that person. I'm this character in my story, and I can do that, and it's such a release, for me.
Yes, I can relate to that.
Most definitely. Who is somebody right now? I know you said you wish you could have worked with Tina Turner. Who is somebody you wish you could work with right now?
Well, at the moment, I still like Santana, and he's been doing a lot of stuff, and he's coming to do a concert in London in June.
Wow.
And I appreciate because he has been able to integrate several musical instruments. And also he's a spiritual way of making music. He always talks about Archangel Gabriel, Archangel this, there's other stories, and I appreciate the music for the soul. And I also appreciate Teddy Swims, the way he sings. Yes, I like his voice.
Yeah. I notice with every great artist, some people give up before they can reach their potential. But I feel like when every great artist gets to a point, whether they're a comedian, a painter, or whatever they do, it's like they have some magic. If you listen to Santana, it's almost otherworldly. His music is, it's magic.
Yes,
Jimi Hendrix, like you said, when you listen to it's like magic.
yes.
And
And
I hope I can, maybe I'm doing it now, and if not, I hope I could do the same.
I wish you the best, and I hope for myself as well. That's what we are here for.
Yeah, it's when you get to a certain point, it's almost not about impressing other people. Of course, as artists, we want to make money from art, which I've been thankful to do. You've been thankful to do, but you get to a certain point where you want to elevate and impress yourself and grow to this level as an artist.
Yes,
It's
yes.
really it's really not about anybody else. It's kind of a self journey.
Yes, that's correct. And also, when you start digging and you see, oh, okay, I like this lick. This expresses myself. Oh, I like this other lick. This is more in line with my soul. This is more in line with the vibration. And by the way, I like to tune my guitar with A 432 hertz, and Jimi
Mm.
Hendrix was doing the same. And in my case, my date of birth, if I reduce my the day, the month, and the year of my date of birth, if I reduce it in single digit numbers, they come to just 432. So I feel a kind of mission, a kind of something that define myself, and I'm happy to use this vibration.
Most definitely, and that's something that I think you learn with music and with anything. Um, the vibrations and the transfer of energy. You know, that's why we could turn on a song and it can make us feel a certain way. I could turn on a song, Public Enemy, and I start feeling like Revolution. I could turn on, Michael Jackson, and I could feel this way. So you learn about the energy transfer and the energy that you're putting out. And that's something that as you mature as an artist, you want to include into your music.
Yeah,
You know, there's a lot of people that are not evolving yet, and I'm not poking at anybody, but the vibration of the music is not a good vibration, at least for me.
but we have to the kind of music that we do, it reflects the kind of experiences we are going through and the kind of work on ourselves we are doing. But sometimes you can find I mean life is not is not just an highway with one direction, but it's something circular. You go, you learn, then you think that you lost, but then you learn other stuff, and so do.
Yeah, most definitely. It's very important. What is the next thing that you're gonna work on or that you're working on now?
At the moment, I'm already writing some lyrics, which I hope to be able to sing as soon as possible. But this depends on how quick I'm able to hone my vocal skills. Because playing an instrument is good and you can relate to other people, but singing is something that gives you even more connection, even more spiritual. But it was something I never done professionally so far. So but I'm writing some songs, so I hope to be able to sing as well for an audience. It's something that will give me even more a bigger connection probably.
No, most definitely. I think you could do it. I think if you, like they say, if you believe it, you could achieve it.
Yes.
You know, it all starts with you thinking you could do it and then trying and going forward and going forward.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
where can everybody find your music and find you so we could keep up with you?
well, I'm on all social media, basically the famous social media and also the new coming social media. You can find me as Fabio Cicala or Fabio Cicala guitarist, and give a follow up. If you are a musician, if you're an artist, you want to do some collaboration, you're welcome as well. So you can find me anywhere.
I want to do some collaboration.
That's great. That's great. We can
And
do.
yeah, I will keep up with you and I'll message you on Instagram or whatever and I'll watch all the new stuff that you're doing and we'll stay connected.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so I appreciate you coming on. I know it's very early your time.
Yeah.
And
It's it's a good way to start my day. Give
most
me.
definitely. We'll talk to you soon. I'll chat with you soon on Instagram and I'll have you back on for the new stuff that you're doing.
Thank you very much. Have a great night on the other side of the world.
Yeah, other side of the world. So much love until next time, man.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.